entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
Wait, don't go in there. He's doing his podcast.
Hello, friends. So we're back from seeing Avengers Infinity War. Shit, I'm tired. Yeah, it's going to be hard to do a non-spoiler review when the fucking movie was just so bananas and there was so much shit in there. Good stuff.
I just might fuck up.
Yeah, well, whatever. If we slip up, we slip up. I mean,
I ain't gonna do that to y'all.
Yeah, I'm at least planning, like I said in the prior episode, I'm gonna go see it again on Saturday or Sunday, and then I will give you guys a spoiler filled review. But holy shit, the spoilers, fuck. But anyways, so like we stated before, this is a 10-year build up, and we finally get to this event where Thanos is coming to get the Infinity Stones to fulfill his, galactic conquest and whatnot. And dude, in my opinion, it delivered on like all cylinders. From the heroes to the villains to the action, it was paced well. It was everything that this should have been. And testament to the Russos, man. These guys know their shit. They know how to fucking direct. They gave us something like Civil War and, well, first Winter Soldier, which was the more grounded out of all of these things. Even then, you had Civil War, which was still pretty grounded, but it upped the ante a little bit. And then you see what they did with this on this scale. Like it touched on like everything it should have. I mean, what did you think of the movie X?
It was alright.
It was alright. Yeah, he got this like ill smirk on his face, that Thanos grin right now.
It was alright. No, it's just what I expected. I mean, like when it comes to Avenger movies, I don't really what do you call it?
Get hyped.
No. I get hyped though, but
you don't expect much,
I'm not really expecting like a big time story whenever, because all the stories already told with the Because just like I said last time, I like the solo movies better.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's although there's just like the other one, but this felt a little different. It felt more like a Thanos movie than the Avengers movie.
Yeah, and even with that,
actually, it is a Thanos movie.
Yeah, and even with that, there was still a story being told in this, which is cool because like in Avengers, at least the first one, it was just them coming together to fight a greater threat. I mean, the story was really in the first half of the movie. Then after that, it was just one big, action-packed set piece. The second one, they kind of messed up in the sense that they should have built to Ultron, like we said in the last episode. Like obviously, we know they were building to Thanos, but you still could have had small builds to Ultron or small references and nods to show that he's a threat, not just boom, all of a sudden he just comes up and yeah. But with this, it was like, even though we knew who the bad guy was, we knew what the threat was for the most part, there was still stories being told within that. And I think that's what separates this from all the other Avenger movies, well, the other two Avenger movies. And it was cool because like, it's like you're wondering what's going to happen. Because we all knew that that certain things were going to happen, certain things weren't going to happen. We knew that. I almost slipped. We knew that. And honestly, that's not a spoiler. Like, if you have any common sense, you'll know what I'm talking about. But even with that, even us knowing the sort of outcome and what's to come in the future, you still like there was points, at least for me in this movie, where you're like, what's gonna happen next? And they teased at so many different things. They made you think one thing was gonna happen, that it was gonna go a typical route, and it didn't. And it was so well crafted, man. And kudos to the Russos and Feige and just everything leading up to this, even Favreau and James Gunn and just everything leading into this. And like and it's funny how what's his name, Jeremy Jans said it, where, and I was thinking this too, where when they showed the Guardians, it felt like we were watching the Guardians film, like for those parts. So it didn't like, the Russos did a good job of being faithful to the prior directors and prior adaptions, prior directors and prior films, but also keeping it tone. And so it's hard to continue on that road without giving anything up, without spoiling anything. But like, we could talk about the characters.
Yeah, Thanos was a good performance.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, without
the villain that we expect.
Yeah, because if you don't build into this for him to just be like this typical run of the mill guy, like his motives, his not ambition, his goal, his end game, like what he thought was right. It's
yeah. He unlike the Avenger 1 villain Loki, which I couldn't stand, and the Avengers 2 villain Ultron, which is kind of felt kind of disappointing in a way, because Ultron is supposed to be better than that. Mm-hmm. But this one, I don't think you could go any better than Thanos.
This is like the equivalent to kind of the level of how the Joker was and how Bane was, where their motives were. They the Joker's a whole different ballgame, but like Bane, he had like a motive that's almost typical to a villain, but it was smarter, it was more calculated, and that's what Thanos felt like. Like Thanos felt like,
twist came.
That twist was just that twist was bad. That's the only bad part of that movie.
Yeah, that was the only but Thanos was consistent with his.
Yep.
Unlike Bane.
Yeah, and that and that's great because like I said, they've been building up for this for so long, and you expect nothing short of what you got, and matter of fact, it actually probably surpassed what we thought or what we expected him to be, because like the way they Josh Brolin, huge shout out to him. I mean, it was cool because though Thanos is a CG character, like a Titan-ish villain, he felt very, I'm not gonna say human, but he felt like he had a soul, which was cool.
Yeah, that's why this is Thanos' movie, because he's the only one that actually showed the full range of emotions, his arc, all that. So that's why it's like, it's his movie.
And that's,
there's the decisions he had to make,
and
all that. Yeah.
And you look at all these good villains throughout movie history. I mean, you have the Joker, you have Darth Vader, all these big, super popular villains. They all had this element of character to them, and that's one thing that a lot of these Marvel villains lacked. And it's kind of unfair because there's so many origin films. But at the same time, still, you can still have an origin film and still, because even with Killmonger in Black Panther, he was like outside of Thanos and the Hydra in its entirety, as a whole, excuse me, like Killmonger was best before Thanos came along.
Because Killmonger was right.
Yeah, and he was right. He had, and that's what makes a really good villain.
Yeah.
They may not be right, but they think they're right, and when you think they're right, like, you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, it works, and that's what a lot of villains are. Darth Vader was that way. The Joker thinks he's right. Two-Face thinks he's right. It's that's a cool dynamic to a villain when you have to guess, are they really bad? Like, I like to bring this up, like the portrayal of Batman in Scott Snyder comic books. You really question, is Batman good or is he bad? Or what are his real motives? Is there some kind of selfishness to him or whatever? So like that's what makes any character good. Or Civil War. There was parts of the movie where you're siding with Tony, but then there's parts of the movie where you're siding with Cap, and that was brilliant because it made you have to pick a side, and you're fucked either way. So it's like
the antagonist does not have to be an evil bad guy.
No, yeah.
It just have to be a guy just to stop the other character from getting to his goal, his or her goal.
Mm-hmm. And Thanos did that and then some, and even the heroes were all. I mean,
Thanos, in my eyes, is the protagonist in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, like
he had a goal.
Yeah, and to all those who are going to see it or haven't seen it yet, you'll see, and most people would know. Like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say anything because the 2 out of the 5 listeners are probably gonna beat the shit out of me or whatever. But like anybody with half a brain and who is invested in this Marvel universe and in comics would know that how the whole plan is going to come about. But yeah, like he had a plan, he had a goal, and it's pretty cool to see that. And you haven't really seen that in most of these Marvel villains outside of Hydra. I think Hydra is the only one. Well, Killmonger, but Hydra was the only entity that has a plan and is still there, is still planted in. They've never defeated Hydra. Not once in any of those movies have they defeated Hydra. I mean, they thought they did when they beat the Red Skull, but then Winter Soldier comes around and Hydra still has their fingers in things. They destroyed S.H.I.E.L.D. And then there's
Hydra had the advantage because freaking Cap was on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
They had that advantage.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. So even the heroes, like everybody, for all the amount of heroes that were in this movie, like everybody had their shine for the most part. Again, this is a 2-part series, so whoever didn't have their shine in this movie will more than likely, especially if they're one of the major characters, should more than likely have more shine in the next movie. But yeah, like Cap, there wasn't too much of Cap, there wasn't too much of Tony Stark, there wasn't too much of Peter Parker, there wasn't too much of Bruce Banner, there wasn't too much of T'Challa, there wasn't too much of Star-Lord, but there was enough of them.
It was mostly Thor and this dude Howard Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Which is cool. Howard Strange. Well, which is cool because Thor pretty much took a backseat in Civil War. I don't even think was he even a part of Age of Ultron?
What was that again?
Thor.
Thor.
Age of Ultron. Like he was. I know he was in it, but I don't remember it that much. Yeah. Memorable. Like I know the beginning scene where they were all in the
thing I remember when he did so. When Vision took his hammer. That's
no. He had that. He went in that little thing, and he had that vision. Yeah, he left after. He left after. But what did he ever fight in that battle? No, he was gone before that final battle. Okay, all right. So yeah, so there you go. Yeah. So he
was in that.
He fought the Ultrons.
Yeah. You remember? He's like, "Is that all you got?"
Right.
And he came flying in.
I think he left like right after that, or whatever.
Yeah, right after that, he bounced.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh shit, something's wrong." But yeah, he didn't really get that much. So it was cool, and when you watch the movie, you'll see it all makes sense. It's funny too because it's really hard to say anything without giving anything away. But yeah, so I love the dynamic, the banter between everybody. It was finally great to see the Guardians of the Galaxy actually meet the Avengers and see the though we didn't get a Rocket and Tony, confrontation yet, and I'm dying to see that because like I don't know if you remember the Guardians of the Galaxy comic where Tony Stark was part of them and Rocket was just ripping into Tony. pretty much he called his suit, what did he call it? He called it something. It had me dying because like Rocket's technology is way more advanced than Tony's is, and Tony thinks he's like the number one mind in technology. But yeah, it was cool.
I like this. I kind of like this Rocket, the movie Rocket, other than the comic Rocket, because the Rocket in the comic is fearless and in your face. This the movie one, he's like a coward.
Yeah,
he's a scoundrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, he was in the movie one. He's an experiment. In the comics, he's an alien.
No, either way, I mean, but it still works out like how they have him like a coward in here. But what was it? Looking what was it? The back and forth between Thor and Star-Lord, that was good. So it's like the way they went back and forth, and their everybody's dialogues and confrontation with each other was really cool. Yeah, and the there was several references, and that actually there wasn't actually as much Easter eggs as one would think. At least blatant.
There was probably Easter eggs that he did.
Yeah, you have to watch the movie like 3 times and shit to see it. But like blatant in your face, like like what's to come kind of shit. And but yeah, dude, it's really hard to have like this talk and not like spoil anything. But it's
in case we do, we apologize. But
yeah,
still spoilers.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're gonna try our best to whatever. But
keep it in check.
Yeah, but I mean, everything was perfect in this film. I mean, the action, the consequences, the characters, the tone. It was funny when it needed to be. It was serious when it needed to be. And that's one thing I love about the Russos. They know the perfect timing for certain things. Like even in like Winter Soldier and Civil War, you had your little quips that worked but didn't make the movie like a full blown comedy. Like they have it. They just know when the timing of things. And one thing I could say, dude, Robert Downey Jr. is looking old as shit. Like when you start getting older and you start getting slimmer in your body, like you can see it in your face. Like
he got all that money, he doesn't work out. Doesn't need to work out no more. None of that.
Yeah, well, he's been old before he got the.
Well, he's in his 50s now. So
yeah, because
he's been doing this when he was 40.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's been around for a long time. If you didn't know before, the whole Iron Man thing.
Acting-wise, he is Iron Man.
What?
I said acting-wise, his life situation is Iron Man.
Oh well, but he's old though. So like, everybody else looks fine. He just looks old as shit. It's like
Chadwick Boseman is in his 40s and doesn't even look like he's in his 30s.
Well, black don't crack.
But damn. But damn.
Yeah. What damn, like it's so hard, man. I just can't wait to like see it again and do the whole spoiler review and just spill all the beans and let everything out. But I guess like long story short, I thought it was amazing. From the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie, I was just like shit. Like it had that grip and it didn't let go, and it really never really felt like I didn't feel underwhelmed at all. Like the movie was overwhelming, but in a good way. Like the emotions were high. Like I said, the consequences were high. They threw you for a loop a bunch of times. Like there was like, you think it's going one way, and they made it seem like it would go one way, and and I could imagine to the casual fan that really doesn't know what they're aiming at or whatever, like their reactions were priceless. Like I'm hearing people in the back, like it's almost like they forgot that there's gonna be a second part to this film or whatever, and just like, or like they don't know what's going on at all. They're just like, oh my god. But yeah, that's the closest I'm gonna touch on that. But yeah, Anything else you want to add?
I think you touched on everything else.
Yeah, this is so hard. This is like
Yeah. I mean, there's about like the banter and all. There's some things I want to talk about, like the consequences, but I think I'm just might tread over the
yeah.
spoiler territory.
I had to like stop myself in mid speech 3 times. Mid sentence like a bunch of times just
So
because.
that's why I was like gotta refrain from names on characters and like the whole choices and
Yeah. Those are.
whatever. So
Yeah, those
I
there's.
think maybe next time on that, because that's worthy to talk about.
Yeah, it sucks because it's hard to take a movie like this and not go in depth and not give anything away because
I mean, from the first 5 minutes, I mean, you're in for a ride.
mm-hmm.
There was like just like how I felt with Star Trek 1, like no dull moments.
Oh yeah, the JJ one, yeah, that
no dull moments.
mm-hmm. Shit, I would like to see him direct the Marvel movie, but he's got Star Wars now, so that's fine. But yeah, no, he put it perfectly. Like yeah, it was like there was everything for everybody. It was just cool, and the way the scenes went back and forth. Yeah, like sometimes you watch a movie and just like the scene when the pacing and like when it switches scenes, it just seems like a little off kilter or whatever. Just everything was so seamless. Like and I can't wait for the next one. Thankfully we only have to wait about a year, but I can't
like
wait,
only
man.
2 Marvel movies in between.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, like I don't even care about those Marvel movies at this point. After this, I mean, I do care about them. Don't get me wrong, and they're supposed. Well, at least one of them is gonna be really big, as far as like cementing everything together and whatnot. But just yeah, I can't wait for the next one. And yeah. So if we come across as if we weren't interested because we're like not saying much. Like I said before, we're trying not to spoil it. It's so hard. We were just having conversations with each other about these things, and then now we have to talk. We have to like pump the brakes on that. But yeah, go see it. Go see it this weekend. Don't wait. Don't give me that. Oh, I want to wait till the movie theaters are empty and there's no. Go see this shit because this is gonna be packed for a while. This movie, there's. The next big movie that's coming out is Star Wars, the Solo story, and we still got a couple weeks for that. So go see this. I don't want to hear nobody crying about we spoiled it on Sunday if you even listen. I mean, we're warning you. We're gonna warn you anyways that the next episode is super spoiler. But anywho, go see it if you're listening to this now. Find time to see it before the weekend's over, so you're not left. If you care about this enough, you're going to get spoiled by somebody and you're going to be mad. Don't be that dude or lady. Hi, Chris. What did you think about Avengers?
Just 2 words. God damn!
There you go. And also the Giants drafted, was it Saquon Barkley. I didn't know how to pronounce his first name. Big deal. And X is happy. They got what? Sam Darnold. Yeah, ESPN is calling him the best quarterback in the draft. So that's a big deal. So, with that being said, we will be back on Sunday. We're going to talk to you about spoilers. Yeah. Yeah. So, Avengers Infinity War was everything it's cut out to be and then some. You will not be disappointed, especially if you've been invested in this, if you've seen everything from Iron Man to Guardians 2 and Black Panther and everything in between, you will not be disappointed. Promise you that. If you are, then I don't know, you must be that guy that reviewed Furious 8. But we'll be back on Sunday. Any parting words, X?
Have a good night / good morning. I'll see you Sunday. Whatever.
Peace out. Greatest Royal Rumble coming tomorrow.